I mean, that era was very controlled, and the feeling was that everybody knew his place, and that you would see by the high white collars and the corsets and stuff, everything was controlled, and so I think, in a way, the style of the film really comes to me from what we're trying to create. We're trying to replicate an era that's gone now, but with the actors, with the dialogue, with the costumes, with the lighting, is it gaslight, is it electric light? How does it reflect off the texture of those particular costumes? All of those things are the things that generate the style of the movie. I don't come, as I said, I don't come to it with an idea of, I must put some particular stamp on it that people will recognize. I think that would deform the movie, actually. So it kind of, it even in terms of its visual style, it tells you what it wants. I mean, the physical, for Germanic speaking peoples, the landscape is hugely important. The whole blood and soil thing, I mean, the Aryan spirituality, all of that is very much in Jung's head. And so the landscape, the forest, the orchard, the lake, Zurich, all of those things were important in the movie, visually, even though there, a lot of stuff happens in rooms, but outside the windows you're still seeing all that. So all of that's where the style comes from, really. It comes from what the movie's about. It was always a passionate thing. It was a personal thing. It was they wanted to embody these things in their lives. It wasn't just an abstract concept out there somewhere. You can see that with Sabina, particularly, with her desire to give birth to a Wagnerian Siegfried with Jung. This was psychoanalysis was a very exciting thing, and the idea everybody who was touched by it felt that it would direct you to a way to actually live your life. That was a new way of living with a new understanding of what it was to be a human being. So I don't, and yet, as you say, it becomes quite a sad and melancholy movie. And I think what you realize with Jung, who was very controlled and kind of repressed in his own way, that underneath that there was a huge, really very deep and profound love for Sabina and for Freud, and both of them were lost. By the end of the movie, he's lost both of those things, and the movie ends with him because of that. So I like the idea that what you're saying, that it moves from eros to thanatos, that we're moving from sex to death to loss. That is the tone of the movie, definitely, yeah.
I think most of my scripts to try to replicate life, i.e. they start quite cheerfully and end badly.
Some people's lives do not begin cheerfully, however, but never mind. Yeah. Well, as I've often said, casting is a kind of a black art. It's a huge part of being a director that's rather invisible, and you really only have your intuition to guide you. There's no guidebook, that tells you whether two people who have never met will have chemistry on screen, for example. I had never seen Kira and Michael in a movie together, or never seen them in a room together until we were actually shooting. So you just have your own intuition, and that goes also in terms of how well and how deeply an actor can play the role that you're anticipating them for. So I for whatever reasons, I really was fixed on Kira. I really thought that she was the one to do this movie, and by the time I talked to her, she was pretty much convinced herself that she should do it. It was obviously a great role. It did require some extreme things. There's some erotic scenes and the going crazy scenes. Obviously difficult because they're so much off the normal path of what you do as an actor. But she's incredibly down to earth and incredibly bright, and does a lot of research, like really deep research. And so we could have just a very frank talk about how, for an actor, when it comes to sex scenes, for example, the actor wants to know, where's the camera going to be? I mean, it's a very straightforward thing. And I could tell her, so it was a discussion of, in a very, adult, and it didn't take very long, just to get over, to figure out what we were going to do and how we were going to do it.